and let me start recording. All right, I'm Flavius Maximus. I guess we're on that ish. And ish is on that ish right now. Um, am I still endorsing? I mean, endorse is a strong word. Um, the last time we spoke, I actually told you that this season of Karate Kid, I wasn't as strong on.
Did you finish it?
I did.
And how did you feel about those last few episodes?
I mean, listen, man. For someone who did not uh, like this season as much, the last few episodes were as good as the rest of the season to me. They didn't. They certainly didn't make me feel like less of the season.
Dude,
At
they're
that
putting
point, I was.
cobras in people's cars. They're
Yeah, but
destroying
they
people's
did that.
houses.
They did that in another season. They had put a
Cobra.
well, not in the car. They had put a cobra, and in his car sales place or whatever.
They're breaking each other's bones and then apologizing to each other.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen adults shoot at each other and apologize to
This
each
is
other.
what we're doing now. You don't think that this is like way out in left field at all?
Hey, I already told you this season was not. I didn't think this season was as good. So by the time I stuck with
I'm
it,
not putting my name on this.
by the time I stuck with it, it's just entertainment. I don't hold it to such a high regard that I'm going to be like, oh, this is what's going to take me out of the show. It's not really like that.
See, I'm only coming at you because I on good faith and trust in my man Flav watched past season 1 into season 2.
Okay.
And then, I asked these questions like, will I be happy if I watch season 3? Will I be satisfied? And I get answers like, oh, yes, I think you'll be satisfied. However, I will say that you did say that you were kind of not as high on season 3 as you were on season 2 and season 1. You did say that.
even to the point where you asked me if I was going to continue. And I thought about it for a second. And I said, yes, I will. So even that tells you, like, I wasn't even to the point where I was 100% sure how I felt about it. So it was like, it just felt like it was retreaded. Like, it felt like some of the magic was lost in whatever they had done to make it this incredible show that everyone was surprised was so good, that had heart and had some interesting challenges with figuring out who's good, who's bad, and introspection. It just seemed like they had kind of A, gotten away from that a bit, and B, like you said, started going overboard. I mean, I think the way season 2 ended, they could have drawn back in and they could have gone somewhere else, and instead they tried to top that. So you go from people falling over banisters and breaking their backs to now breaking bones and shit like that in fights and like setting it off on each other every time they see each other. And I'm sure, someone thought that was great television, but like you said, it seems a little bit overboard.
Especially for some kids growing up in what I would consider to be, and I'm not saying they're affluent, because clearly the former main character is not affluent, right? Like, but the environment that they're not Daniel. The student.
The young. Oh, okay, yeah. Robbie.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, Robbie or the Latinx kid.
The Latinx kid.
Oh, okay.
But it's like, man, this is how y'all get down. Y'all get down like y'all go to y'all go to some school in Brooklyn or something. Like this is what it is.
So that's a good question. So is it supposed to be that is it supposed to be a statement on the generation itself? Does it have to do with where they live, or is it a statement on where these kids have gone wrong with their whole karate and their karate mission? So
So so if
have the
it's a statement
leaders.
on where they've gone wrong with their karate mission, it certainly is a fantastical statement, right? Like, because you got a bunch of kids who are now equipped with martial arts abilities
Mhm.
fighting on site, like it's beef on site.
Right,
Like, where does this happen?
right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
where does this happen? Where it's just like, oh, so if that's what it's a statement on, it's certainly a fantastical statement. Like, at which obviously we are talking about fiction. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But it's like,
yeah.
man, y'all, like you said, beef on site. I can break your bone and apologize for it. And like, huh?
And then, well, then the other thing is it's supposed to be because of the nature of their leader. Their leader is so corrupt that he's able to influence these kids, and unchecked, it becomes this cancer or this, virus or whatever kind of metaphor you want to use that's growing and festering, and young people are very susceptible to these kind of things, and it becomes its own gang mentality. And
Now,
a lot of the times they were just trying to help their friends, and like, our friends got beat up, they're the ones getting bullied, so now we're going to help them, but you just become another gang yourself.
right, right, which I guess is a reflection of some of the negative aspects of things that can happen with, in society with certain social issues, right? Like, it's one of the arguments I'm always making, and very strongly, that you know I'm weary of situations where the oppressed become the oppressors, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's an interesting parallel, or at least an interesting way to look at it. Just to explore that. What you just said, right? Like, these people were, we go from just helping our friends to being those who are the victimizers, so to speak, right? Like,
Right.
in the case with the Latinx kid, like, if you remember, throwback to the first season where, he defended the girl in the lunchroom, and he beat up the bully, so to speak. He then went on, just by his very presence in certain things that he did in his character, to bully those kids. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't outright bully them, but he certainly made a point, when and where he could, to intimidate them and let them know, like, know, cross me again, and you already know what what'll happen, so to speak. And I
Wait,
understand.
you're saying this was based on someone who's getting bullied himself?
Well, he wasn't really getting bullied. He defended someone who was getting bullied.
Oh, okay. And which
But
character are you talking about right now?
well, the Latinx kid, he was getting
Oh, I
bullied
see. Okay,
at
okay,
at one point. And again, I
okay.
never have a problem with, I don't have a problem with what he did, right? Defending the girl, beating up the kids. I don't have a problem
Mm-hmm.
with that. Not only do I not have a problem with it, I don't have a problem with the idea that if you bully me and I overcome that, and I put you in your place, however you want to, define that,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with making sure you understand that you're not going to ever be able to bully me again.
Okay.
Where I might draw the line is understanding that I'm capable of a thing that you're not capable of, in using that understanding to continue to intimidate you.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, using my understanding of my capabilities to continue to intimidate you. That's where
Right.
I would personally draw the line. I, by no means, am ever going to let you think that you can bully me ever again, for sure.
Right. And so under bad leadership, these lessons are either not learned or they're twisted, the wrong way, and they go pretty far to show you just how corrupt some of these leaders are, or even confused. Right? Daniel's a nice guy. He's not like the corrupt uh, leader of.
I think that's certainly subjective. I don't think he's a nice guy. I think
Okay,
he's
well
got prejudices that I don't agree with.
okay, so let's get into that. Right? I mean, as a writer, you have Danielson, who loves Mr. Miyagi, loves his kids, wants to show his students the right way, and even if he's not always correct in his execution, at the heart of it all, he wants these kids to be able to defend themselves without them being the aggressor. That's his mission. So we can talk about why you don't feel he's a good guy, but on some level, he has, the heart of his mission is to do good. I would say Johnny has come to the same, has come around to that mission in recent times as well. He wants to do good. He wants to make up for some of the wrong he's done, and he definitely wants to, kind of confront that corrupt teacher that he had. Now, the teacher, that guy is a problem. He obviously, you know, has some very like messed up ideals, and he's willing to teach kids some messed up things. That's the way that it's set up. So, yeah, let's get into it. Why do you feel that Danielson's not necessarily a good guy?
Well, because I think there's more nuance to it and to both, right? I don't think either one of them are necessarily good people or particularly bad, right? They both have prejudices that I don't consider good qualities. Is I think is a better way for me to say it.
Mm-hmm. And what prejudice are you talking about with Danielson in particular?
Well, Danielson is a guy who came up a certain way, who achieved a certain level of success. So you
Mm-hmm.
get the idea right away that he looks at people in very judgmentally, and especially people, not especially, but in some cases, people that may or may not have come from similar situations that he came from. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like he's judgmental, and I get it from a father's perspective of the people that your daughter are going to be interacting with, but it's the way that he chooses to judge them, and it's like, you do remember where you came from. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
also
Okay.
with the his counterpart, right? He's judgmental. He's prejudiced towards, like just outright prejudice towards people that he deems to be weak.
Okay.
It's something that he's overcoming. And I guess both of them are going on a journey of discovery in those regards, right? But it's certainly something that he doesn't hide it when, the kid wants to learn from him. Like, he doesn't hide, like, you're weak. I mean, look how he talks to the class the first time that he has the class assembled. Like, he just, the one kid who stutters, and like, he's making fun of he's unremorseful about it.
Now, when you say he's prejudiced against them because of the way he's talking to them, or willing to deal with them, or what?
No. So being willing to deal with them speaks against his prejudice, right?
Okay.
But in many cases, we can conclude that he's willing to deal with them because he doesn't have a choice. And thus the learning process takes place where he begins to learn something different than what he already perceived. But that leads me to believe that if given a choice, he wouldn't be dealing with them. He just didn't have a choice. You wouldn't have a class.
Okay. So
he didn't want to train the girl. He didn't want to train her.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, he didn't want to.
No, we're talking about Johnny?
Yeah, Johnny.
Okay.
He didn't want to train her. He didn't even want to train the Latinx kid.
Okay, so this isn't just a case of him being a hard ass and pushing people's buttons to see if they'll fold or break or whatnot.
I don't think so, no. I actually think that these are things that he felt and believed. Mm-hmm. Like, in his learning the opposite, but I certainly, like, he was immediately dismissive of, like, there's no reason to push this Latinx kid's buttons. He just straight dismissed him, and he told him why.
Can you remind me what he said to him?
When the kid asked to learn from him, and he was like, no. He was like, you're weak. Remember, he helped him and he saved him, and he told him, like, dude, you're weak, you're a loser. Okay. You know what I mean? Okay. He pretty much
yeah, that was back in his, he was certainly a drunk at that time, right?
Yeah.
And was he, did he have a class at that time, or was he?
Nope. He didn't have a class.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely the beginning of the,
I'm going back to the roots.
Sure. Yeah, that's the beginning of the discovery. He's down and he's out, he's pretty low. I see.
The girl walked in. He didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't want to
Okay.
train her.
Okay. Yeah. Certainly not the same person that we see today.
And both of them are growing.
Yeah.
Definitely, both of them are growing.
For sure. Yeah, they're definitely both at this point. They're definitely co-protagonists against a common antagonist, for sure. By the end of the third season.
Now, what do you think about the controversy that may not even really be a controversy about them removing the black girl from the third season entirely? I know a lot of people are upset about that. They're saying that it is.
Was she the bigger girl?
Yeah, she was
Classes,
Johnny's
right?
Yeah, Johnny's second student.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened with that.
Well, publicly, people are saying that it looks like what it is. I don't know what that means. I guess if I was to adopt a social agenda and run with it, I would say it means they got rid of the black chick. You know what I mean? Because
there's not another one in season 3.
Not that I'm aware of. But they just mentioned that she went to another school or something like that. She goes to another school.
Well,
if there's another black girl in the show in season 3, it's not someone that stands out to me, and certainly not in the way that the original girl stood out, because she was the second student.
Character. Yeah,
right.
Not like a main character. Yeah, I mean,
she was Danny's daughter's best friend.
Yeah, no, I mean they should rectify that in season 4.
Well, there's a controversy behind it, a public controversy where people are are criticizing the showrunners because of that character not being in, and the showrunners had to actually come out and say something. And I don't know if what they said was a cop out, like a good way to clean it up.
Do you know what it was?
Yeah, they just pretty much said that they don't want to give anything away, but her story may or may not be done, but they don't want to give anything away, which a lot of people think is a cop out. And while I'm not in the position to know, it seems like a cop out to me. And I don't even listen, as someone who's a writer and a creator, I know that I could say that to cover myself, because I could always write you back in, right? But on the same token, hold on. On the same token, it doesn't mean that as a writer and a creator, they wrote her out of the show for creative reasons. It doesn't mean that they didn't write her out for creative reasons. So I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not in a position to really know.
I'm gonna call it. It's a non-issue. It's people not knowing what's up with the show. So I'll say it like this: they should not be playing like that when they only have. First of all, they shouldn't just have one person of color like that anyway. Second of all, they shouldn't play like that when they only have one. However, if they say that they don't want to say what's up with that character right now, I'm not in a position to say, there's a cover up.
That's what I say.
Yeah, this isn't a conspiracy to me. That's just to me, it's a non-issue.
Well, I think conspiracy is a big term, right? At the very least, I think it's just, I don't think there was a malicious intent to get rid of this character because the character is black. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's what you're going with. I don't think so.
But not only that, I don't think there's an effort to cover something up. Well, a cover up. What is this? The JFK?
No, but see, I don't think I use the term cover up.
Yeah, but either way,
pop out for sure.
Yeah,
but that's just how people are perceiving it. Because if I'm being fair on both sides of the book, from both perspectives, as a writer, which is why I gave you both perspectives as a writer, it can either be a cop out, or it can either be you just don't know what my plans are and I don't want to reveal them. It could be both, and that's the luxury I have as the writer. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I said that, because I do have that luxury of, if people are mad and there's backlash, I can just say, well, I don't want to ruin, where I'm going creatively. Just stay tuned. You understand what I'm saying? And then, so I do have that luxury as the writer, which is
Okay.
why I said, from both perspectives.
So moving on beyond that, what else? What do you feel about some of these returning characters, like the the love interest from the original movie? What's that? Ali Sheedy?
No, Elizabeth Shue.
Elizabeth Shue. Yeah, sorry, Elizabeth Shue.
So I think all of it is exactly what they should do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for sure. Like, why not be all in on it, right?
Right.
Like, why not? Why not be all in on it? I think it's great. I think it's a great. We're talking about a throwback show that throws back to, this is a show that, while it may appeal to a broad audience, it's meant to specifically appeal to people growing up in the 80s who are pining for 80s nostalgia.
Oh yeah,
Right.
and people who were original, even more specific, original fans of the original movie.
Right. So why not? If it's once the first season is successful, you got to be all in.
And so you liked her return, and you feel like you liked her character and where they went with her and everything.
So I think that I'm not going to say it was like great or anything. What I would
Right.
say is that I think the show would be worse off without these returns.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, these are pleasant expectations.
Right.
And
so
like,
let's skip around a little bit. So let's skip around. What about when he went back to Okinawa and he found the Japanese girl that he had a thing for back in the days? How did you like the return of that character?
It's interesting because his wife is just willing to tolerate a lot more than the average Karen in America is willing to tolerate, right? Like, yeah. Can we agree that his wife, while not a full Karen, is certainly on the Karen spectrum? Like, she meets some of the Karen.
The way that she's been acting at like these. Yeah, Karen.
I mean, his mom is full on Karen.
Yeah, I mean, oh, wait a minute, his mom.
Oh yeah, his mom is full Karen mode now. She forgot where she came from real quick.
Wait a minute, like Danielson's
mom? Yeah. You don't recall her from season 1?
Oh, I'd have to remember.
In the way she immediately comes into conflict with Danielson's wife.
Yeah, I'll have to go back.
Maybe her mom isn't so much Karen, but I get that Karen qualities when those two interact because they don't like each other.
Okay.
And so you see that the way they interact is kind of Hasidity, so to speak. You know what I mean? It gives you this idea that mom forgot where she came from altogether. You know what I mean? Remember, she was the single mom who was poor, who had to move to
Reseda.
Came from Reseda.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Reseda was kind of a tough place,
Yeah.
It wasn't considered a nicer,
Yeah, like,
it wasn't considered a nicer place.
Reseda was G'd up, man. Tough living in Reseda.
Okay, so there was the Japanese woman that he got back in contact with. What did you think about her?
So I wasn't particularly like impressed. I thought that bringing her back in the way that they brought her back actually was the best way to do it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great way to do it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I thought us getting to see her, I don't think she should be a regular.
Right.
She shouldn't be the girl he calls for advice.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Sure. And then what about his old rival?
Now that I thought was cool, and I'd like that dynamic to be explored.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd like more from that.
Like, maybe I wish Danielson they could train more with him.
I just wish they could find a way to bring him into the show more often, but in a realistic way. Because I definitely like that. You know what I mean? I'm anxious to see his other rival pop up. I believe he did, or there are plans for him. The guy who had the ponytail.
Oh man, that's my favorite Karate Kid, and not because it's good, because it's wonderfully horrible. And if you remember, there's about 3 bad guys in that
Yeah.
movie. That's how convoluted it is. I think the sensei's in that movie, the ponytail guy, and then there's another young hotshot Karate Kid.
Is that what we're going with, Ponytail Guy? Is that what we're going to go with for the rest for when we refer to him, Ponytail Guy?
That's
I did see a
tell.
picture. I did see a picture with the showrunners that the showrunners put out of him currently, present day.
Oh, you did? So
Yeah.
So you're not kidding about this? They're gonna.
No, I'm not kidding at all. That's why I brought it up. Definitely not kidding.
Wow. Okay. Ponytail dude. That's gonna be interesting because I don't know if it was just that movie or if that dude doesn't have, the acting chops.
Well, let's not pretend like the O Sensei, for lack of a better term, has acting chops. Let's not pretend like Danny LaRusso has acting like Ralph Macchio is.
Don't talk about Ralph Macchio.
Let's not pretend like Ralph Macchio is acting the house down.
Come on, don't underestimate. See,
listen, I'm not trying to rain on your childhood, bro.
This is people's problem with Daniel LaRusso. Same problem they had with his sensei, as people always underestimate them. That's why he gets the best of them.
I tried to give him. Listen, I watched The Outsiders. It wasn't Ralph Macchio who was carrying that film.
Well,
I'm just saying, bro.
Well, that was a different. I'm only speaking on the Karate Kid. I can't speak on The Outsiders.
Well, so you never seen The Outsiders?
If I did, only like once. But that's not the point. The point is, I don't care if he stunk up that movie to high hell. I'm talking about the Karate Kid.
Well, he stunk up the Karate Kid.
I disagree. I disagree.
You're ready to give him the awards, huh? You're
I
ready
mean,
to give him all the awards.
He's definitely a highlight of the show, for sure. And there are some people that are pretty good on the show. Some people that could be better, but he's definitely a highlight of the show for certain. Yeah, his wife bugs out sometimes. And it's interesting for someone who's kind of like the voice of reason, telling him like, "Why are you running around, like a full grown ass adult, getting in fights and stuff?" She sure is ready to throw down a little bit. So I kind of wonder if part of this whole show is like people get wrapped up, like this, the spirit of like all of this fighting not contained in a system of in a good system is getting out of control, and it's affecting people somehow. It's affecting everyone. So yeah, so, I mean, Karate Kid
at this point, before we go any further, we should pause the stream.
Okay.